And I'll just also say one more time, thank you all for being us here for today's CFP Certificate Connections. A few housekeeping notes before we get started. If you experience issues with your audio, please check your Zoom and computer audio settings. Entering and exiting the Zoom link can resolve issues if you have any trouble. We'll address as many questions as possible during a Q&A session at the end of today's program, but please submit your questions through the Q&A function in Zoom. And now I'll turn it over to CFP Board CEO Kevin Keller.
Thank you so much, Lynn, and thank you all for being with us here today. It's a really exciting time for the financial planning profession, and we have a lot to talk about today. I'm here with Liz Miller and Terry Carlson, both CFP professionals. Liz is CFP Board's 2025 chair of the board. She's also president and founder of Summit Place Financial Advisors out of Summit, New Jersey. Liz earned her CFP certification in 2008, and she's been on the board of directors since 2020. Terry Carlson is CFP Board's 2025 chair-elect. She'll be chair of the board in 2026. She is senior operating partner at Rise Growth, where she leads strategic plans for minority investments in RIAs. Terry earned her CFP certification in 2006, and she's been on the board of directors since 2022. We know your time is valuable, so we really appreciate that you're spending some of it here with us today. We've been hosting these certificate connection events for almost as long as I've been at CFP Board. And the conversations and questions that bubble up often turn into our most important and most impactful initiatives. In a little while, we'll talk about our public awareness campaign. It's Gotta Be a CFP. This campaign has increased the value of CFP certification, perhaps more than anything else we've done in my time as CEO. And it all started because of conversations we were having with certificants. I was out on the road at one of our first certificate connection meetings in Texas, and I kept hearing from people. They would say things like, I'm really proud to have earned my CFP certification. I just wish more people knew what CFP was. Here at CFP Board, everything we do is data-driven, so we tested what we were hearing through research on consumer awareness of the profession and of CFP certification. And there was a clear need to generate awareness for CFP. We'll talk more about the campaign a little bit later, but it's a great example of why these meetings are so important to us. I believe we can best add value to your investment in CFP certification by listening to you, our most important customer. Today, we'll talk a little bit about the growth of the profession and trends that are the backdrop for our work. We'll share the latest CFP Board news and resources. We'll talk about the proposed changes to the requirements for CFP certification. We'll talk about our upcoming leadership transition and what's next for CFP Board. And we really want to hear from you. So submit your questions, comments, and concerns on the Q&A function in Zoom, and we'll get to as many of them as we can at the end of this session. So Liz, why don't you go ahead and get us started?
Thank you, Kevin. And thank everyone for joining us today. 2024 was just a tremendous year. In April, we crossed 100,000 CFP professionals in the United States. And that 100,000 had been a goal for us of a number of reasons. It means more Americans have access to competent, ethical financial advice. But growth also equals relevance. And that means as our community grows, so does consumer recognition of the value of our CFP certification. As Kevin mentioned, it really is an incredible time for the financial planning profession. Clients' needs, wealth demographics, and technology are all changing, and CFP Board is evolving to address these changes. And I'm going to share some of those with you. Over the last 10 years, the number of CFP professionals has grown by nearly 49%. And last year, we welcomed the most diverse class of CFP pros in our history. But women today still make up less than a quarter of all CFP professionals. And we need to be focused on challenging that. This year, CFP Board is committed to finding ways to accelerate the growth, influence, and leadership of women in financial planning. And we're going to do it by following 4 pillars. The first is thought leadership. We're looking to develop new resources, highlight best practices, and continue to make the business case for women and women advisors through research. Convening means we're bringing together leaders in the industry to hear the best advice. On May 20th in New York City, we're convening our first Power Women Design Summit. We're going to bring key leaders together, both male and female, to engage on how CFP Board can bring more women into the profession, retain them, and fuel their advancement and leadership. And we'll be hosting similar events in a couple other regions. Communication amplifies it all by keeping the visibility of our profession growing, by lifting the voices of successful women so more women can see themselves in our profession, and continuing to develop career pathways that sound attractive to women coming in. Our 4th pillar is building partnerships, and that's to help advocate for sponsorship of women's leadership and advancement. Now, last month, we released some new research as part of that thought leadership, and we asked women a couple of key questions. What are your top financial aspirations and challenges? How do women value financial planning? And what qualities do they seek in a financial planner? And the research found quite a number of things that we expected, but a few surprises too. 2 out of 3 women today are the household's primary decision maker for investments. Now, for years, we know that women often led financial decisions for budgeting and cash flow. I always laugh that I remember my mother pulling out the envelope of cash and handing it to my dad. But this is a real change that women are leading the investment decisions in households as well. 4 out of 5 women today also report that their income equals or exceeds their partner or spouse. And their top priorities are somewhat similar to everything we've heard before. They want a comfortable retirement. They want to build emergency savings. But the 3rd priority we heard from women is that as they're accumulating their savings for the future, they want to make sure they've put enough aside to support caregiving for those they care about. And women continue to attain greater and greater wealth. And we looked at these questions that they shared. And as we heard other women talk about seeking financial planners, they shared with us what they look for when they're trying to find a financial planner. Again, some of these we've heard before. Crafting financial solutions specific to their challenges, have a proven track record of success, and hold certifications like the CFP certification. But this new research showed that women are looking specifically for advisors who can communicate complex financial concepts clearly and are empathetic. It's important for us to understand the wealth goals of women and gain their perspective so that we can ultimately provide tailored advice and create successful outcomes for women as they manage a larger and larger portion of the wealth in this country. Kevin, let me kick it back to you to talk about our impact study.
Thank you so much, Liz. CFP Board is leading the first ever peer-reviewed academic study to track and report on the actual impact of holistic financial planning on clients. We have, I think everybody knows, Vanguard's Alpha study and the Morningstar Gamma study. We've named this the Financial Planning Delta study, so to speak. We're looking at the difference or the delta between the outcomes and well-being of Americans who work with a CFP professional versus other financial advisors who are not CFP certified or the DIYers. The research follows and measures financial conditions and financial well-being. You know, we've committed to do this for a decade or more. I hope it goes on well into the future. And the thinking would be that we would be able to report both in up cycles and down or in periods of uncertainty like we're experiencing now. The team conducting the study includes some of the most respected researchers in the field. Stuart Heckman is a CFP and PhD. He's at Texas Tech University. Emily Kochel, PhD from eMoney Advisors. Sonia Luter, PhD and a CFP, is at Texas Tech. And Michael Collins, PhD, is at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. So we released the first results last month. The headline is that Americans who work with CFP professionals achieve better outcomes and report better well-being. That is compared to both those working with other advisors, not certified, and DIYers. Americans advised by CFP professionals are more likely than others to have a detailed financial plan that's reviewed annually. That makes sense. Have an emergency fund and a will. And they say that they have fewer family conflicts about money, which makes sense, but was one of the surprising findings. The full financial planning longitudinal study is available on our website. The QR code on your screen will take you there directly. We are actively talking to the media about results, and I think as we go on through the years, it will become even more meaningful. And I think perhaps most important is that the data are going to be available to other researchers to do additional research in financial planning. Switching gears for a moment, in 2023, CFP Board established a Competency Standards Commission to conduct comprehensive review of CFP Board's competency standards for CFP certification. Often when we talk about standards, folks think of our ethical standards, but we also have competency standards for education, experience, and examination. The commission was a select group of 15 volunteers, including 12 CFP professionals, individuals from financial services firms of all business models, educators, certification and credentialing professionals, other stakeholders, and a public member as well. We're grateful to the commission for their dedication, their expertise, and their thorough and thoughtful review and consideration. I'd like to give a special shout out to the chair of the Competency Standards Commission, Jack Brode, CFP. Jack is a former chair of the board of CFP back in 2020. Terry will walk through the commission's work, if you would.
Thank you so much, Kevin. It's great to be here with you and Liz. I'm very excited about the competency standards. And over the years, the CFP board has made piecemeal changes to those standards. The college degree requirement, the capstone, and the apprenticeship experience. But this was the first time the CFP board has taken a holistic view of all the competency standards. And so this group of volunteers really took this on much more comprehensively. The rationale for this stems from our commitment to advancing the profession and fostering public trust. We do this by setting, administering, and upholding rigorous standards for the CFP certification. So our regular evaluation of the competency standards reflects our commitment to leadership, innovation, and the American public. The proposed recommendations under consideration aim to ensure that the competency standards are modern, relevant, and practical for the evolving financial profession. As a member of the board of directors, we carefully evaluated the commission's recommendation, and there was quite a spirited conversation. We recognize that the changes to the competency standards can significantly shape the future of our profession. So on December 17th of last year, the board of directors announced 9 proposals for public comment. Input from a broad range of voices gives the board crucial context as we consider the next steps in this important process. The CFP board actively sought input on the proposed changes from practitioners, candidates, firms, and the public. And we received more than 2,000 comments from over 2,000 people. The board of directors will review public comments and the relevant data, carefully evaluating the issues throughout this year. We anticipate the final decisions on this to be proposed by November of 2025. Our goal is to ensure the competency standards remain modern, relevant, and practical for the evolving financial planning profession. As the profession continues to evolve, we are also focused on expanding the talent pipeline.
Terry, we should let folks know where the process stands. So we had a 2-month or almost 2-month comment period. That ended at the end of February 28th. And so those 2,000 plus, I think there were over 2,400 was the final number. Our team is reviewing those, narrowing them down. There were numerous comments that we'll be analyzing. We'll have to look at those. Liz, you've got a board meeting scheduled to hear what, in May? I think in May we were coming up. July we'll be looking closer. So I know people might be wondering, well, I commented, but what happened? And you know, the board has already had some spirited conversations. Look, and some of these are not easy questions to resolve.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. As Kevin mentioned, the board will be getting together in May again, at which point we'll have a comprehensive report of all the public input. The board has taken everything the commission gave us, and we even synthesized that. And then we will take the input from all the comments, and always with an eye, as Terry said, to making sure after this big effort, we want to come out with something we're sure is relevant, modern, and leads the high standards of a CFP certification forward for a number of years to come.
Yeah, thank you. For our listeners who are online, if you have questions that you would like us to address, please use the Q&A function and we'll get to as many of them as we can at the end of the session.
Yeah, Kevin, I just want to punctuate, when you get over 2,000 comments, it's really important that we take the time to review them all and make sure we consider them. And I really want to assure all of our listeners that that is taking place. So we also have a number of additional new programs to increase the awareness of the financial planning profession as such an attractive career choice, and to support all of you who are pursuing this profession. Last year, we expanded our partnership with the Externship, a well-regarded financial planning training program. Externs who complete the program earn 500 CFP Board standard experience hours. We work with the baccalaureate programs to host a number of on-campus events to highlight the programs and connect students with important firms. And we've also launched a new Career Studios program. The Career Studios program are live virtual events for people interested in financial planning careers. The events connect attendees with CFP professionals who join the financial profession after working in other fields. The CFP pros share their experiences and advice on coming into the field and finding the best job fit. And I know for sure that I have recommended several people to attend these Career Studios, and they have come back and said it's been a really great experience understanding what a career as a CFP professional does. Our next career studio is going to be hosted May 6th through the 8th. If you or someone you know is exploring the opportunity to be a financial planning professional, we welcome you and any others to join us. The QR code on your screen will take you to the registration page. I'll turn it back over to Liz now to talk about a few other new programs and resources.
Thanks, Terry. No, we're really excited about the different things we're doing to keep growing that pipeline, building the workforce that we hear from you that we need in our industry. Something else we're doing to amplify and bring a more reputation to our profession is the board announced just last month that we are going to be starting a financial planning Hall of Fame. This new recognition program honors visionary leaders who have really made transformational contributions to our industry. We know there's a lot of lists of top financial advisors and lifetime service awards. This program is really focusing on those who have truly helped shape the future of the holistic financial planning profession, such as perhaps those who are fostering the advent of affordable investment advice, those who have helped advance standards in the profession, or strengthened awareness of financial planning, or maybe established groundbreaking educational initiatives. Nominations are open through March 31, and we encourage you to take advantage of this QR code. You can nominate yourself or someone else, and we look forward to announcing this in October, right?
Yes, we'll announce the first inductees. And Liz, one of the things that I'm most proud about is the board was really clear, and the group of volunteers that helped us put the framework together was the last thing the financial services industry needs is another recognition program that at least feels sometimes like it's pay to play. We've sat in some of those award ceremonies, and this clearly is meant to recognize those who've made transformative contributions.
Thanks, Kevin. Talking about transformative, the other thing we talk about internally, we've heard from you, is what's up with artificial intelligence and what is CFP doing about it? Well, it's pretty remarkable that it hasn't even been 3 years since OpenAI released an early demo of ChatGPT, right? But it's powerful and the potential became clear very quickly. This year, we're going to be convening a specialized group of experts to help us explore and imagine how AI is shaping the future of financial planning. After sharing and analyzing different scenarios, we look forward to some actionable recommendations. This group of experts is going to consider multiple future scenarios, identify key trends, challenges, and opportunities for how CFP Board and our stakeholders can navigate AI. The work will position CFP Board as a leading voice on AI's impact in financial planning. As a start to these efforts, CFP Board just recently published our new Generative AI Ethics Guide. This guide is designed to help CFP professionals integrate AI into their practices. It outlines practical steps for privacy concerns, data integrity, potential biases, and it's really easy to use. It has checklists to help you make sure you're safeguarding confidentiality, verifying the accuracy of anything that's generated by AI, and maintaining compliance with privacy laws. We know that when used responsibly, AI has tremendous power to amplify expertise and unlock efficiencies. This guide can really help enhance the value for financial advisors they can bring to their clients. And CFP Board will continue to provide resources and guidance in this area. Now, the biggest thing we've announced in the last month, I believe, is that Kevin Keller plans to retire in 2026 after nearly 20 years as our CEO. Now, if I were the board chair of any other organization, I probably would have had a very different reaction when I learned Kevin was retiring. But as Kevin likes to say, we work for planners. So of course, there is a thoughtful, detailed, deliberate plan in place and a path ahead that I'll share with you in a moment. But as we're talking about impact and transformation today, I hope you will give me a few minutes to reflect on CFP Board's phenomenal record of success under Kevin's leadership. Under Kevin's leadership, we have nearly doubled the number of CFP professionals to more than 103,000, with a record 10,400 candidates sitting for the CFP exam in 2024. We've more than doubled public recognition of CFP certification through a public awareness campaign that has reached millions of consumers. We've strengthened CFP Board's position as a leading voice for financial planning in DC and relocated its headquarters from Denver to Washington. We created the Center for Financial Planning, which has significantly accelerated the growth of women and racially and ethnically diverse CFP professionals, elevating the profession's commitment to serving the public interest through strengthened fiduciary standards. We've introduced scholarship programs that have awarded over $2 million to people pursuing CFP certification. We established a 501c6 to promote the benefits of financial planning careers and advance the profession for the benefit of the public. It's easy to see that Kevin has had a profound impact on the financial planning profession. And as we move into this leadership transition, the board of directors has tremendous confidence because of the foundation of excellence that Kevin has fostered. We've initiated a planned succession process for a seamless transition. We've established a search committee and will engage an executive search firm later this year to assess both internal and external candidates. It's a deliberate process, and it underscores our commitment to organizational excellence and sustained growth. Kevin, I thank you from the profession, and I thank you personally.
Liz, thank you so much. It really has been the privilege of my career to serve the CFP professional community. And it's been an honor to work alongside a board of directors, literally thousands of volunteers, our vendor partners and staff. I'm incredibly proud of what we've all achieved working together, and that CFP board is stronger, I think, than it's ever been, with a deep bench of executive and leadership talent from top to bottom. I'm particularly proud of the work that we've done to raise consumer awareness about the value of CFP certification specifically, and financial planning more generally. We're going to talk about our public awareness campaign next, but before I dig in, I wanted to share something cool related to the campaign. Last month, an op-ed in the New York Times caught my eye. The piece wasn't about CFP Board or even about financial planning. It was about electric vehicles and the global economy. But the author, who is Pulitzer Prize winner Thomas Friedman, set the scene by describing the most recent commercial in CFP Board's It's Gotta Be advertising campaign. Now, I won't get into the politics of it, even though we're sitting just 2 blocks from the White House. We won't go there, but the campaign was a literary device in a New York Times opinion piece. And I think that really shows that our brand has hit a new level of cultural relevance. Yesterday, we hosted a webinar, which was a deep dive into the 2025 Public Awareness Campaign, which will launch next Monday. We'll share an overview today, and a recording of that webinar is now available at cfp.net/PAC Webinar 2025. Growing brand recognition has been a top priority for CFP Board even before I became CEO back in 2007. And to this day, CFP certificants consistently rank growing brand awareness as a top priority. 14 years ago, we launched CFP Board's first public awareness campaign. Before that campaign began, unaided awareness of CFP certification was 17%. That means that only 17% of your most relevant prospects could bring to mind the CFP certification without being prompted. So there was a clear need to generate additional awareness for the profession and for CFP certification among consumers. The campaign's strategy is to increase consumer awareness of CFP certification and preference for working with a CFP professional. The current campaign, It's Gotta Be a CFP, launched in 2023 with a vignette we call Bungee. It continued in 2024 with a vignette called Surgery. Like Bungee, Surgery featured breakthrough creative. It catapulted CFP certification to all-time highs for unaided awareness and total awareness and preference for CFP certification. The ad creative draws a parallel between a high-risk situation with the feeling of uncertainty and the confidence and security one feels working with a qualified professional. The campaign also emphasizes the CFP acronym with a direct call to action. You know, the campaign has won some awards, Liz, but you had a good point. We care, it's nice to win awards, but your point was it's better to get results.
Right.
And what
Thank you
we
for that.
like about, what we like about the campaign, not only is it getting awards, but it's also making a mark in increasing awareness. Each year, we measure the campaign's effectiveness through a brand tracking survey. I mentioned that before the campaign began, unaided awareness was at 17%. Fast forward to 2024, it's more than doubled. This is noteworthy, particularly considering the relatively small scale of what we have to spend compared to the rest of the financial services sector. Last year, unaided awareness increased from 34% to 44%, which is another marker for the campaign's effectiveness. Total awareness is a measure that encompasses both unaided and aided awareness, and we're at all-time highs on total awareness as well at 91%. Preference to work with a CFP professional is at a record high, and the number of people who tell us that they intend to use a CFP professional has also increased from 30% to 90%. CFP Board's public awareness campaign launches next Monday, March 17th, and it'll run for 9 weeks through Sunday, May 18th. The bulk of the campaign budget is expended in the spring to align with tax season when finances are top of mind for our target audience. There are also evergreen elements of the campaign online mostly, which run year-round. In partnership with our advertising agency, Bunton, we've once again crafted a media plan that delivers what we think is the right media channels as well as the right frequency to continue to maintain and hopefully enhance our awareness numbers. The 2025 Public Awareness Campaign has a budget of almost $19 million. The bulk of it is over the 9 weeks that will be on TV, and we're aiming to drive at least 1.3 billion impressions. The bulk of that budget is on television, 75% of it on traditional broadcast or cable connected TV. The rest of the 25% is spread out over the rest of the year, mostly, again, as I said, online. This year, we had a wide variety of media partners. We know that the core media habits of our target audience and how they consume media, they are significant consumers of sports and news, lifestyle, and financial programming. Last year's campaign analysis showed us that 30% of our target audience tunes into sports programming. So we've added 10% more sports into this year's campaign. This programming content aligns with the top 3 interest of visitors to our consumer-facing website, letsmakeaplan.org. In 2025, we will again leverage these 2 powerful commercials to deliver on the campaign strategy and goals, and we'll share both commercials now. The first one up is Bungie.
Double check that. That's pretty good. Yeesh. Not crying, are you? Let's tighten that. Ooh.
Wait, what was that?
What? No, don't worry about that. Here we go.
Asking the right question can greatly impact your future,
Are you qualified to do this?
What?
especially when it comes to your finances.
Do you have a question?
Are you a certified financial planner?
Yes, I'm a CFP professional.
CFP professionals are committed to acting in your best interest. That's why it's gotta be a CFP. Find your CFP professional at letsmakeaplan.org.
And then the other commercial, again, Bungie and surgery will both be running next week when the campaign launches again. This one's known as surgery.
Hey there, Brenda.
It's Carol.
Exactly. So which leg are we operating on?
You mean arm?
It's all connected.
Asking the right question can greatly impact your future,
Are you sure you're an orthopedist?
Actually, I'm a Sagittarius.
especially when it comes to your finances.
Do you have a question? Are you a certified financial planner?
Yes, I'm a CFP professional.
CFP professionals are committed to acting in your best interest. That's why it's gotta be a CFP. Find your CFP professional at letsmakeaplan.org.
So I don't know, Terry, what do you like? Do you like surgery or Bungie better?
Surgery one.
Yeah.
I think, hey Brenda, it's Carol. Step number 1, know their name. That's important.
Absolutely. Liz, what do you like?
At first, I liked Bungie better, but over time, surgery really grew on
I
me.
think surgery is the staff favorite, and we're going to do half and half, at least initially. Is that right, Jim? So we're going to do that. I think it's time for questions, and we've had a number of people write in. So plus we got some questions ahead of time. So I'm just going to kind of go down here in order. If we don't get to your question, somebody from the staff team will follow up. So let me go first of all. Terry, I think you were on the finance committee for a while. Does CFP Board receive any funding from the federal government?
Oh, sure. That's a good question, but the answer to that is no, absolutely not. The CFP Board or the Finance Committee or any form of the board does not receive any federal funding for our work.
And we're grateful for that, given the current environment.
That's right.
Hey, Liz, Sherry asked, when we're looking at the response to all the feedback that we got on the competency standards changes that are proposed, Sherry asks, will the review of the feedback be empirically based to find those statistically significant themes versus manually reviewing? I'll let you take that, and I may have a thought there as well.
Thanks, Sherry. That's a great question. And you may have noticed that Kevin shared the closing date for feedback was the end of February, and yet the board is not meeting till May. And we, in fact, are very action-oriented and would love to jump right on top of it. But that's how long it takes for our internal research team to synthesize all that data, do a robust analysis of it. And as we shared, this feedback is a mix of answering the questionnaire as well as words that have to go through what I think is considered an ethnographic part of the study.
It's qualitative and quantitative, right?
Thank you.
And let me say one more thing. This is not, our research team is very clear. This is not a survey. So this is not going to be a hard vote because, for example, the Financial Planning Association, representing 14,000 or more CFP professionals, they submitted feedback. And sometimes, an independent financial planner out in the countryside. So we have to kind of evaluate back and forth. So it's not it's not a survey, but it is an opportunity to get feedback. And look, I know how much the board values that feedback, and we'll look closely. How about that? So Next question. Robert asked, how do we contribute CFP exam questions? Neither of you have written exam questions, have you? You've
No,
never
only,
done it?
no, only taken.
Only taken
Right.
exams, never written exams. Yeah, well, Liz is a CFA charter holder as well, so she's taken 3 exams for that. Robert, thanks for the comment. CFP professionals volunteer, and the questions are all written by subject matter experts who are CFP professionals. You can learn more about how to volunteer to be an exam question writer. We call them items, to be an item writer at cfp.net/volunteer. Just click on the link that says exam development volunteer to get started. But it's a fascinating process. It's harder than it looks. And there are times where we'll bring together 20 or 30 people to write questions for a couple of days. And I'm always asking the team, how many new questions did we get? And frequently it's like 100. I'm like, so it's a very thoughtful, thorough process that we go through. Next question. Liz, there's one on the, you may not know this, but I'm going to toss it out. Raj asks about the AI working group. How can you get on that group if you have relevant experience? Raj, I'm going to ask you to send an email to our Chief Operating Officer. That's Dane Snowden, DSNOWDEN. Dane is leading that. Dane's dsnowden@cfpboard.org, and let him know of your interest. I think we're trying to balance it out with the right people, with the right background and right experience, but we haven't finalized it yet. So thank you for answering that question. Michael asks, what new opportunities are there to donate time? So, Liz?
Thank you, Michael. Pro bono is something we've talked a lot about. Last year, almost 20,000 CFP professionals reported almost 390,000 hours of pro bono time that was given. And amazing as that was, that's, barely 20% of our CFP professionals. CFP Board is really proud to partner with the Foundation for Financial Planning to provide pro bono opportunities, training, and resources to all CFP professionals. The FFP has a National Volunteer Opportunity Clearinghouse. So if you would go to www.probonerplannermarch.org.
Pro bono planner.
Yes.
.org. Indeed. And Catherine's asking the same question. I would like to volunteer as a CFP to help people with fewer resources. So,
well, they also can reach out to our pro bono manager, Molly Evans, and she can help get you involved. Her email is mevans, MEVANS, @cfpboard.org. So please feel free to also reach out to her if you're looking for opportunities. And you can always go visit your kids or grandkids' schools and talk about financial literacy and careers in financial planning. We really believe that it sort of takes everybody doing it one person at a time to build that awareness of the career.
Terry, I'm going to go to you for this next question. Lawrence writes, please remove the college degree requirement for CFP certificate. I give you the easy questions,
Sure,
right?
good.
Undergraduate degrees have never been less valuable and yet more expensive for an organization that wants to grow and prides itself on financial planning. This should be done. Terry, what say you?
Well, Lawrence, thank you so much for sending in your comments. I can guarantee you there are equally passionate perspectives on both sides of the degree requirement. And so we have set up our Competency Standards Commission, and we're looking at a thoughtful, thorough approach and reviewing not only the standards for the CFP certification, but those of all other well-regarded designations. So we're really looking at what's best for the CFP as well as what's happening across the industry. That's why your public comments are so important to us, yours as well as many others, So thank you for sharing your perspective. We receive comments like this regularly. Oftentimes, we're doing this certification in person, and there's a lot of people in these meetings that feel very equally to have the college degree or to eliminate the college degree requirement. So I just want to assure you, Lawrence, that we're taking this in consideration and we'll always consider your feedback as we move forward.
And both Terry and Liz, we've all three been out in-person certificate connections when we do this live. This issue, we've been talking about it for the last year. We've all experienced the passion on both sides of this, and I don't expect that it'll
No,
diminish in any way.
no,
for
there's
the next.
wonderful stories that we get on both sides of this, and, you know, it's not an easy discussion and it's not taken lightly.
Let's see, I'm just scrolling down through the questions here. I'm just gonna read this one here. Michael asks, I'm involved with financial literacy in his state and would like to share my ideas on how CFP program and designation can benefit financial literacy and CFP program initiatives and goals. You know what, Michael, I'm going to recommend that you contact our Chief Program Officer, Lisa Davis. Her email is ldavis@cfpboard.org. So I will pass that along, and she would be happy to hear from you. We have a question. Pam asks, are there numbers that can access, or in other words, are the demographics available of CFP professionals by age groups, genders, and race? Pam, the answer is yes. And they're available online on our website at cfp.net/demographics. Is there a way to view a recording of this webinar if we joined late or missed it? Absolutely. It'll be available and posted online next week. Please do not increase the 2-year CE requirement. Which one of you wants to take that? I think they mean the
fee?
30 hour.
The 30 hours.
Probably, I think
right.
what Robert means is please do not increase, and he says 2-year, but it's every 2 years, it's
That is
30
required.
hours.
Yep, thank you, Robert. And again, we've got lots of feedback on this. This is certainly part of it. What I will encourage you to take a look at if you were involved in the public comments is that while we consider increasing that, there were also more activities considered that might count as CE that don't count today. And so again, we're going to look at all the feedback. The board will be considering all this. You're probably not going to hear final answers on this until next fall, but we appreciate the ongoing feedback and your priorities.
So Liz, a couple of people have asked about the retired status for CFP, and then Marge, a couple came in ahead of time, and then Marge asks here, would you please address that?
Sure. You know, CFP Board has a CFP Board Emeritus membership program. It's for individuals who have held CFP certification for 25 years or more and are no longer practicing in financial services. It's a reduced fee. It's no continuing education requirement. We'd love to have you be a part of that. And you can learn more about that on our website as well, cfp.net/emeritus.
Carrie, question for you. Tricia writes, I'm looking for ways to put my CFP status out there and show and tell current and prospective clients why it's important to work with a CFP professional. Why don't you take that one?
Yeah, great question, Tricia. Our consumer-facing website, letsmakeaplan.org, has many resources and articles highlighting the value and importance of working with a CFP professional. We encourage you to link to them and share them with your own clients and prospects. You know, Kevin spoke earlier about the 2025 Public Awareness Campaign, which launches next week. There is also a toolkit that you can get that's associated with the campaign that has social media posts for you and other promotional materials for CFP professionals to share. The toolkit and the resources are very easy to use, and they are available at cfp.net/PAC or PAC.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Terry. William seems like he knows about advertising. He asks about the reach and frequency. So those are two important numbers that our media buyers use when it comes to buying the media for our campaigns. So the reach is 85% of the target audience, and the frequency is 8 times. That's the number of times our target audience will see the ad. So in total, it's about 1.4 billion impressions, the number of the times that the ad will be seen or exposed to folks. So William, I hope that answers your question. That might get the award for the geekiest of questions, but we're happy to answer it here. And I'm happy to have Jim Katsounis, who's our Managing Director of Marketing and Communications, standing by. So I didn't know that Jim was able to get the answer for that. Next question here. Why don't we go, Liz? Charles asks, what's being done at the high school and college level? That's a common question, and I think there's opportunity there.
Yes, thank you so much for asking about that and asking about our efforts, Charles. We know that we need to get more awareness further down. Now, keep in mind when we get to talk to a high schooler and get them interested, that does tell us we're about at least probably 7 years away from getting a new CFP professional into our workforce. But last year we launched a number of things, including a new student financial planning liaison program at 9 of our board registered programs on college campuses. These liaisons are students who hold on-campus events, and they also promote the university's program and financial planning careers through social media and other channels. Terry talked to you about our extended partnership with the externship and the campus events we're hosting to highlight the baccalaureate programs in financial planning and to connect students with firms. We've also created some customizable marketing tools for these programs that we share with them to help them get the word out. And last spring, we launched a student newsletter, which is our first ongoing communication with college students. So we're very aware that we need to build awareness, not just with the clients we want to talk to, but down the age range of getting more people into our career.
Thanks, Liz. Deirdre asks, are CE credits offered for this? Unfortunately, the answer is no. I'm sorry to tell you that. Liz, here's one on AI. Or Liz and Terry, both of you, I think. The question is, it was here and it jumped away.
That's what AI does.
That's what AI did.
It was a hallucination.
Well, we had one. I'm not sure where it went. Is the board considering an option to carry over excess CE hours in a given reporting period to the next?
Yes, all of the CE hours is under consideration at this time. And I think one of the questions is around pro bono that is also being considered, not decided yet. But there is a number of proposals around continuing ed that we're looking at right now.
Is there a special outreach in the pro bono program to offer free services to active military? I can tell you that we work very closely with the Foundation for Financial Planning. Our role is providing the supply of planners to deliver financial planning. The foundation looks for the demand, or they vet particular organizations and people in need, and they do the matching at pro bono planner.org. And so they have some specific military opportunities, I believe, at that site. So Thomas, thank you for that question. There. I think we've got time for one more let's see here. Let's make the last one. Will the public awareness campaign be running spots in print media, or is all of the budget focusing on video? So that question comes from Karen, and the answer is yes, we will be in print media in the Wall Street Journal. So I appreciate that question there. We'll answer the rest of the questions that we didn't get to in the one-on-one directly back to you before the end of next week. So I think we're just about out of time. Before we wrap up, I'd like to encourage everyone to connect directly with me on LinkedIn so that we can continue these conversations. Maybe a last word for Terry, then Liz, and then I'll wrap us up.
Well, I, for one, I'm just very excited about the year of 2025. I'm especially excited about all the engagement that we've had over the last several months in the commentary periods, of the questions, even on this particular connection seminar. And I just like to ask you to continue to share your perspective with us.
Great.
Thanks, Terry. I agree. 2025 is starting out very exciting. We shared that Kevin will be retiring, but I think what you heard here today is nobody at the organization is taking their foot off the pedal. We are looking at those 5 blocks of strategy we always talk about, and you heard real impact going forward in almost every one of them, from workforce to certification to access to awareness. We're taking your feedback and we're making sure we continue to bring value to your CFP certification.
And I'd like to thank you both, Terry and Liz. Liz Miller, Chair of the Board in 2025, Terry Carlson, Chair-elect of the Board in 2025. I'd also like to thank the executive producer for today's webinar. Lynn McNutt is our Director of Executive and Stakeholder Communication. We will be posting a recording of this presentation on CFP Board's website within the next few days. And from Washington, D.C., the offices of CFP Board, be well and have a great afternoon, everybody.